Greetings and welcome to Valor U. I'm Zaladrith and I'll be your instructor for today. Today's class is Mental 101, Improvement Mindset. Improving is the only long-term way to increase your rank. Having better teammates won't make you any better. Winning a few games won't make you any better. And even ranking up won't make you better. The only long-term way to consistently rank up faster is to learn how to speed up your rate of improvement. The earlier that you adopt an improvement mindset, the more valuable every single game and every minute of play will be to your growth. The first step to take is accepting responsibility. The only common factor between solo queue games is yourself, so the only person that needs to improve is yourself. By the law of large numbers, regardless of how many unlucky games you get with AFKers and throwers, you'll eventually reach the elo you deserve as long as you play enough games. Now, a lot of people blame their teammates, who could have played better to win a round or a game. If your teammates played better though, then they'd be a higher rank. It's unrealistic to expect them to play better than they are, so you can only adapt to them as best you can. If it helps, you can think of teammates like bots. There's no point getting frustrated at a bot, as they're programmed to play worse when you accuse them anyway. Instead, you need to keep their morale up and adapt to their mistakes to use them to their utmost. Even if you try to give a bot advice, it's more likely to backfire, as emotions during a game can run high, and there's not enough time to truly teach them anything during the course of a single match. And while you get new bots next game, learning how to adapt to new teammates and make them play their best are real skills that can be trained. A more logical way to think about it is that you're in this elo for a reason. The mistakes you see your teammates make are probably because you're better than them in some aspects, so you can identify those. However, there's mistakes that you make that they can see in exactly the same way. Everyone has different strengths and weaknesses. Another common mindset mistake is to blame the enemy team or matchmaking. They're just too good, they're smurfing, the matchmaking's awful. While these thoughts aren't as destructive as blaming your teammates, it makes you lose confidence and think about giving up or surrendering rather than motivating you to improve. Similar to this is when you blame yourself. I'm too bad, I'm not good enough, I have no chance against them. These negative thoughts have much the same effect, reducing confidence and not motivating improvement. Instead of fixating on pointless negative thoughts, wasting time, use a growth-oriented mindset. Every time you die, think about what you could have done better. What advantages or disadvantages did you have at the time? What mistakes did you make? What could you have done differently to have more advantages or avoid a disadvantaged engagement entirely? Even if the decisions that you made were good, what alternatives did you have? Would they have been even better or perhaps worse? If you have trouble coming up with ideas, ask a higher-ranked friend or coach on a specific play for their thoughts. So when I solo charge the last enemies in a 5v2 post plant with no info instead of playing with the team, even though I get the kill and you say good job, I'm just practicing terrible decision making and you're just reinforcing that bad decision with praise. It's in fact a horrible play, almost the worst possible decision I can make, so why am I practicing making that decision and letting my team reinforce that practice with praise? On the flip side, if your decision making is solid and you have great positioning, I don't care if you miss your shots. Your aim is not a decision. You're repositioning well, wasting enemy time, playing to maximize the chances of victory and the number of guns you take into the next round. It's a bad decision to solo 1v1 the enemy like this Jett, but even if I don't hit my shots here, I'm overall pretty happy with my decision making, other than possibly over-peeking at the end without thinking about cover. Because everyone, even the pros, whiff the easiest shots some percentage of the time. Think of your shots as having just some percent chance of hitting. Blaming or rewarding RNG won't make you better. However, if you could use a more suitable technique for the job, like choosing to strafe shoot at long range, it can give you a much higher percentage chance of winning that kind of duel next time. You can't just choose to hit your shots, but you can choose to improve your chances of hitting those shots, with better gun hygiene decisions and targeted practice. For instance, in this duel, a new player might say, I whiffed, and then go aim train to get better. In reality, let's pretend that I had like a 25% chance of winning this duel. Aim training for a few days probably won't affect those chances at all, because raw flick aim isn't that relevant in this clip. Specifically working on tracking or spray control might increase that chance to like 30% since they're relevant skills, but it's hardly the reason why I lose the fight. Instead, choosing the appropriate technique for the range, strafe shooting, might instantly raise my chances of winning the duel to 60 or 70%. Even though it sounds simpler to improve raw flick aim since that helps a few percentage points in most situations, your aim will never get anywhere near 100%, so you shouldn't just ignore the other 90% of the game. Taking a look at the results of this survey, although based on user-submitted data with small sample size, it's still easy to tell that you're never expected to consistently hit 30 out of 30 on hard bots. There's plenty more to the game to learn than just aim, which will eventually net you diminishing returns. Practicing proper gun hygiene and always picking the correct shooting technique for the job can improve your chances by a much larger factor than raw aim. While a lot of this active thinking can be done in VOD reviews, it's most valuable to evaluate your thought process immediately after decisions were made, or not made. In this example review, right after I win the round, I go through a sort of personalized checklist prioritized by growth areas first. First, I look at my util, since I have a history of forgetting about util when the pressure mounts. And yep, I've totally forgot. I could have smoked the spike, tap faked, sidestepped while still in smoke to avoid getting shot, then strafed out the left side of the smoke to isolate the duel against the sage who'd have less bullets to kill me. To improve on that idea, I could actually smoke slightly in front of the spike to give myself a little bit more room to maneuver, and threaten isolating peeking either sage or chamber. I file that line of thought away for next time. Smoke slightly in front of the spike when tap faking. Note that this builds upon learnings from prior improvement mindset analysis, such as always smoking the spike, since I've been punished for smoking the enemy instead and getting pushed, and I've successfully punished people with this sidestep technique so many times, these actions were instinctual. Visualizing the possibility where I smoke sage or chamber, they can just swing right out of it, and if the other player chooses not to peek until the smoked player is already swinging, I'd be in pretty much the same situation, so smoking my own position is probably safest. Just to exercise my mind though, I imagine how it could be advantageous to do that smoke. If I kill one enemy instantly, I would have advantage against the other one peeking my smoke, but that relies on enemies having poor communication, and I prefer not to rely on enemies making mistakes. I choose to set up plays where I'm in control of the pacing. On to other utility, I did already dash to avoid getting traded, so that's good, but my angle of the dash could definitely have been better, another little note to file away. Second on my checklist might be gunfight hygiene. I noticed that my crosshair placement wandered while I was looking down for the spike, another little note for myself as a growth area. At this range with the classic, I should strafe shoot single shots or small bursts to remain accurate, but when I get tagged by Sage, I gambled a right click for the kill. In hindsight, it was probably necessary as she may have been at full life, and Chamber was about to swing. Overall, I'm pretty happy with my strafe shots and gunplay decision making here. As usual, I don't evaluate the success of my aim. My decision was to strafe shoot and aim for head, and that's what matters. Next on my mental checklist might be my positioning. I was gambling that Chamber was right side of main instead of up on the boxes, but bumped into a wall trying to get a split second of cover from that angle. Pretending that I have no smokes, it's probably one of my better options since I don't have cover from any other angle. Another choice I could have made though would be pushing the Sage behind the double boxes, but that takes longer and opens myself up to Chamber peeking me, especially if he's playing that right side cubby. But it's not the worst idea if he's deeper in main. Simulating and thinking through all these possibilities in real time helps me improve my on-the-fly instinctive creativity for the next time that I'm in a stressful scenario. There might be more or less on your personal checklist based on your specific growth areas and how much time you have between rounds, but hopefully this gives you an idea of how much an improvement mindset can change how you think about the game and improve how you VOD review yourself. In summary, an improvement mindset is a long-term, growth-oriented mindset, rather than just caring about rank or winning a few specific games. The only way to continually rank up is to learn how to improve more efficiently. The earlier you adopt an improvement mindset, the more valuable every minute of play will be to your growth. Don't blame your teammates, don't blame the enemy team, matchmaking, don't even blame yourself, as blame distracts from constructive and creative thinking. Focus on your growth opportunities and what you can be doing better in every situation, both good or bad. Actively evaluate possible alternatives even during the game in order to stay creative. Focus on improvement rather than immediate results. Don't blame your aim, only decisions that you actually control. And while VOD reviewing is important, in-game review is even more so. That's all for today's lesson. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the lecturer or the TAs in the comments below. Thanks for attending, and we hope you enjoy your stay here at ValoU.
When you turned around and went all the way back, I was like, there's no way he's gonna take off what he's got.